Hello, welcome to the show. I'm Lisa Bradshaw. Thanks for watching. On today's show, I have a special guest who I've known for a long time. We worked in radio together. Her name is Jessica Clay. And we've been trying to get together just outside of work for a while, so it's nice to have you on the show. Part of why I wanted to have you here is, I'm out in the community a lot, just like you are for your job, which we'll get to. But I wanted to talk about Numerica Credit Union specifically where you work because I see them everywhere. I was just at an Alethea event just this past month, and they were involved, and we have Festival of Trees coming up. So I just want people to understand their philosophies and their mission, but also give them an idea of how they might be able to get support from, even if not Numerica, there are other businesses in our community who are very helpful and supportive. So thanks for coming to speak to that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So let's back up a bit. So you and I met in radio.
Yes.
And how long were you in radio?
20 years.
20 years.
I started in Ellensburg in college and then was in Yakima.
Did you work at the college, like for the college station?
No, it was a community radio station that I went to work for.
Were you a DJ? Host?
Yeah, I did the morning show.
Got it.
Went to Yakima and did a morning show as well, and then went to Seattle and was doing part-time work. And a friend offered me a job here in Wenatchee in 2003 to come have a full-time on-air position. And so I took that opportunity and moved here. And then I met my husband and have been here ever since.
This was your end game, huh?
Yeah.
So then when you started in radio, you didn't have kids. How old are your kids?
No, they are 6 and 8.
And when you moved here, I guess you didn't have kids if you hadn't met your husband yet.
Right. No.
So you were talking about, let's talk about a little bit about that. So what was radio like for you, and what did it feed for you? What was it that you loved about it to do for 20 years?
Oh gosh, when I started in radio, we were out in the community all the time. I loved that aspect. I loved the live broadcasts. My favorite thing I ever got to do in radio was the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital's country radiothon.
That's the one regret that I didn't do. Did you go to their facility?
I did not. I never made it to Memphis.
That's the part I didn't get. We could have done that. It was offered it to. I wish we had done that. But but you participated in the telethon.
Yes, I did many telethons, raising money, and as hard as it was to hear from parents who had lost a child, to see them supporting this organization and talking about what it did for their family during that traumatic experience was just so moving to me. And I always used to say, if I didn't work in radio, I'd want to work for St. Jude's and travel around and host those radiothons.
So then you got to do it where you were?
Yes.
So that's good.
It was amazing.
So then you were in radio for quite some time. What made you decide to make the shift? Something completely different.
I wasn't really looking. A Numerica Credit Union recruiter contacted me based off of a recommendation by somebody in our community for the position of Business Development Officer with Numerica. And I went and met with them, and I had known about Numerica through the radio station and how much they give back to the community.
The events and things we attended,
So I was very familiar with Numerica and what they did in the Wenatchee Valley, but had never considered working for them, not having a financial background. But my position is so community relationship based that when they offered me a job, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to take it and work for them.
Well, I did community relations for the radio stations, and that was really, when you get to live in your personal life a life of service, but also get to do it for a living, then it makes there's really nothing greater in terms of what I wanted to do in my career, and it sounds like a lot the same. You wanted to be in service.
Absolutely. I love that my job wants me to serve on committees and boards in our community and be at networking events and volunteer. Numerica is so incredible. They give every employee 8 hours paid to go out and volunteer, and they can do that in an organized Numerica volunteer project, or if they have a passion for a nonprofit that we're not currently supporting, that they want to go use those 8 hours for, Numerica totally supports that.
8 hours per month, or
8 hours per year.
Oh, per year. Okay, I was say, well, that's a lot of hours.
Numerica last year gave over 10,000 hours in volunteer with all their employees.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I was at the Alethea event out actually at the Writing Center.
Yeah.
I had never been, and there were a couple of gals there from Numerica from Spokane, and I need to get their number from you, because we kept saying, she says, get in touch with Jessica, and we just hit it off. And I just think when you're around people who want to serve, who get to be, and that's the thing. Yeah. For me in radio, my job was to make the community happy, to go to these events, to make it a date night to go to a festival of trees, or make it a girls' night to go to a little black dress, or whatever it was. And to also go to some of those, do the stuffing the bus and all of that. Right. And it changed for me, though, too, over time. And I wouldn't have had any knowledge to start the Don't Wait Project, which is the nonprofit I founded in 2011, had I not been taught by Dan Conway, who was the general manager at that time, and that was my job. Right. And it was his foresight to go, okay, how can we make sure the community knows that we want to be here and we want to be involved? And so it was the same sort of thing, seeing a lot of the same businesses out there, supporting these endeavors for nonprofits and for the needs of the community. Yeah. So to get to do that in work, like we said, and then to have that, I'm sure it trickles into your personal life.
Oh, absolutely. We love supporting Alethea Writing Center, and Numerica is huge on supporting that. But just a group of us girls got together, and we decided to go to their little black dress event at the Golf and Country Club in East Wenatchee.
I was there.
And we had the best time.
So fun.
And so I love working with people who have the same passion and want to give back in the community. So it's just fun, and yeah, it feels good.
Well, let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about your kids. They're 6 and 8, you said?
Yes.
And just what they've learned from seeing your service in the community and having that extra, information or education about how business and community can work together.
Great.
Okay, we're talking with Jessica Clay. She is from Numerica Credit Union. Tell me your title again.
Business Development Officer.
Great, that helps me a lot. I don't have a piece of paper here with it written down like I usually do, but we'll be back in just a moment.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging in adult care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
Dear Mary Maids, please clean the kitchen, and the cabinets, and the floors, and the chairs. And I wish you could clean the dog. Colin is now feeding himself. Thanks, Megan.
Hi, Megan. No worries. We got it all cleaned up. Let's hope Colin gets past the spaghetti flinging stage soon. Till then, we've got you covered. See you next time. Mary Maids.
I'm here talking with Jessica Clay from Numerica Credit Union. We're talking about service in our community and Numerica Credit Union specifically, because everywhere I go, they seem to be involved in a positive way. And I've known Jessica since radio days.
Yes.
So I asked you to come here and we'll talk a bit specifically about Numerica. But first, we were talking about your kids just a moment before the break. And you were talking, they're 6 and 8 years old.
Yes.
And what are they learning about service from your job?
Well, I've had them involved even in the radio days with helping. We used to do the fundraiser with Salvation Army at the Apple Sox game, and they would be right out there taking donations. So they've been heavily involved with, having an appreciation for helping their neighbors. And then Numerica just presented a check to Small Miracles, which is the food program that feeds children during the summer.
Right.
And I spoke with the lady in charge of that organization, and the kids and I are going to spend next summer 1 day a week helping with that. And so I'm excited for my kids to get to do that.
That's a real eye-opener. Just that's part of this life of service in work. I don't know how else you'd know that these things are happening. I mean, I guess we see it in social media and we see it on television and in the newspaper, but to actually get to be there and pack lunches.
Yes.
That's a rewarding thing for your kids to understand that some people just don't have that.
Right.
Because it's so simple for us to make a sandwich for our kids, and it's not that simple for everyone.
Right.
So let's talk about Numerica Credit Union specifically, and what, if someone, and understand Numerica can't support every single thing, that's why you have an application process. So let's talk about that process.
So just last year in 2017, Numerica gave back $1.3 million to over 281 organizations.
And tell us where Numerica is positioned. I learned that from the gals at the Alethea, but how many branches do you have and where?
Oh, we have 22 branches, I believe.
Which states?
They are in Idaho and Washington.
Okay,
we are in northern Idaho. Spokane is where our headquarters are, and we have several branches all over Spokane and the Spokane Valley. Then we're located in the Tri-Cities, and then we have the Wenatchee and East Wenatchee branches.
Okay, so you guys, all of those combined, gave away $1.3 million.
Yes, and 281 organizations were supported.
Wow. So there is a possibility that if you need support for something, that Numerica could be the one to help you. But let's just, I want to preface it by saying there are businesses like Numerica throughout our entire community. Mom and pop shops, longtime businesses that have been here, larger corporations are good about giving to their community, and then Numerica, who's is only in Washington and Idaho.
Yes.
So go back, to the process. If you're interested in getting support with your organization, does it have to be a 501c3?
No. We do a lot of support for schools. There's all kinds of organizations. So let's say you need support. There's different aspects you can take to, see if we can make it a right fit and get it approved. The first one is go to numericacu.com, and if you click on community, there's an application there you can fill out. That's going to get you the quickest response because it goes straight to the decision makers at our headquarters. You can also stop by the Wenatchee or East Wenatchee branch and leave me material or email me material that I can then forward to headquarters where the decision can be made. But I'm more than happy to sit down with anyone who has a project they would like to see us sponsor or support and see if it's a good fit for Numerica.
So what are some of the parameters of a good fit? I mean, you've been there long enough to kind of know, they're open to absolutely anything, or what kind of things, is there something they gravitate toward supporting?
I think the biggest thing is fostering education, supporting women and children, and ending hunger. Those are big guidelines that Numerica looks at for ways we can support. We give to the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society local. We sponsored the luncheon for Apple Blossom, and I believe we're going to do that again this coming year. We're excited that it's their 100th anniversary for Apple Blossom here in the Valley and want to be part of that again. Fiestas Mexicanas we sponsor. There's Alethea. We're a huge sponsor for Alethea's Run for the Roses Gala, which is coming up in October. There's so many different aspects to what we end up sponsoring and what we end up supporting. So don't ever think, oh, well, Numerica won't be interested in that. If you don't ask, you don't get an answer.
I'm so big on being okay with a no.
Yes.
In any decision you make in your entire life. If you can get past being afraid of being told no, your possibilities are endless, because there's always a yes on the other side of the door. When I wrote my first book, it drove my agent crazy, and it was before there was email even. Really, there wasn't much email going on. It was like 2000.
Right.
And I had her send me every rejection letter. And she hated doing it because she had to literally physically put it in the mail, and I got a lot of them. But one of the rejection letters suggested a publisher to her, and that is the publisher who ended up publishing the book. So it was my greatest lesson very early in my career that a no really doesn't matter. It means absolutely nothing. It just gets you closer to a yes.
Right.
So if you have something that you need support with, then there are businesses here that are willing to support it, and just have to know your need.
I grew up a Navy brat, and I've lived all over the world, and I feel strongly that Wenatchee's community is amazing in how much they support, and from coat drives to food drives, everything in between, it seems like, oh, people are going to feel tapped out. And then the support comes through. This community is wonderful at taking care of each other.
Well, the other thing I want to add to that is that it's your job to do this. I believe that in Wenatchee you can do anything you want career-wise. I don't think there are any limits. I have not felt limited. I moved here from a large city and in a big transition in my life, and I think that you can make whatever you want happen for yourself here.
Absolutely.
Because it's a thriving economy, people who care, smart business people who see the vision. And I think that's, obviously Numerica is that as well.
Right.
So then if someone comes on the website, they see that, then they're going to fill out the form get that information to you if you do it in person. How long does it take? I mean, if you have an event coming up in the fall, this fall right now, it's a little late. But if you have something in the spring, is that soon enough? Or winter? What's your timeline or deadlines?
We really try to put our whole budget for the upcoming year together between August and October at the latest. So if you have a request, it's best to get it in. And for any business, not just Numerica, many plan where their finances are going to be spent starting August to October of the previous year. So if you want a sponsorship for 2019, now is the time to be reaching out to businesses. And one of the biggest things you can do is look on nonprofit organizations' websites or any organization that has sponsorships and see whose logo's on there. These are the people you want to contact and reach out to them for help.
And the other part about being diligent is asking for that meeting. I believe in a one sheet, like having it all in one place to where it's spelled out for someone. They don't have to sift through a bunch of papers. It's just all right there. I love the one sheet. Also learned that from Dan Conway.
Less is more sometimes.
Yes, exactly. It should fit on one page. And it's like an elevator pitch, right? You've heard that. Yeah. You got like a minute and a half or less to say what it is and get on with everyone's day. Well, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a big event that Numerica supports every single year.
Yeah.
When we come back in just a moment. We're talking with Jessica Clay. She works for Numerica Credit Union, and we're talking about all the great things they do in our community and also giving you a little inspiration to go knock on the doors of other businesses as well if you need support. We'll be back in just a moment.
Is your vehicle in need of a quick oil change or tune-up before hitting the road this summer? Stop by Quick Lube and Tune, the home of the good guys at 610 South Wenatchee Avenue.
Hi, we're back. I'm talking with Jessica Clay today. She works at Numerica Credit Union, and we're talking about the gifting, the support that Numerica Credit Union does in our community. Everywhere I go, I seem to see them supporting something in our community, but we're also talking about, in general, just the work that they do, that is, how they reach out and how they affect the community. And talk about your education piece.
We actually have a financial education program to help with financial literacy, and we go into the high schools and teach. So if somebody is a teacher watching your show and they would like us to come in and teach segments in their classroom, we do everything from budgeting, credit, planning for the future, how to invest. We have a whole curriculum that we can come in and teach, and it's free for us to come in and do so. It's kind of fun to go into the high schools, and some of these kids don't know how to write a check or balance a checkbook, haven't even thought about ever building their credit score by having a credit card. So it's kind of interesting to get a hold of the kids before they head off for college too. As you know, you have a son who is going to college. The credit card companies are right there waiting for them.
Yeah, we've had those talks. Absolutely under no circumstance is he to apply for a credit card. One thing I have to say is I'm a good mom. I've educated my son in the best way that I can about all aspects of life. And then you send him out there. He's in year 2 on his own at college. Right. And I've seen a lot of growth and change. And what I also see is where I fell short. And it is teaching him now how to write a check. It is teaching him, he's in charge of his own budget. He's good with money. But, and he's been looking into, he wants to start a Roth and these sorts of things because he earns money during the summer. So we're starting to, those calculations about if you save $25 a week for the next however many years, you'll have this much money.
Yes.
We all talked about doing that.
Right.
I mean, I didn't start doing it until much later.
I wish I had started earlier.
Right. I mean, but there's a lot more information now, I think. It's a lot easier to find the information. So I hear people complain about education, schools, and how there's not this anymore and there's not that anymore. And what it sounds to me like is we just have to get more creative about how we get it.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
If Numerica is willing to come in and teach this for free, it affects doesn't have any effect on tax dollars or anything to do with some of the conflict that's happening in schools right now,
Right.
then how would they utilize that? They just get in touch?
Yeah, they can call me, and my cell phone number is 509-630-7283, or they can email me. It's jclay@numericacu.com, and that's JCLAY. And I will be happy to come into the classrooms and teach financial education or find somebody on our staff who will do so.
So having that information, how you have children 6 and 8 years old, when do you start?
Oh, I don't think there's an age limit. My kids both have savings accounts at Numerica Credit Union. We have a youth program, and they open their savings account, and for all 10 punches of making a $10 or more deposit, Numerica gifts them $5 into their account.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Wait, so if they make up to $10 deposit 10 times, they get
$5 extra dollars just
Wow.
put into their account.
That is good money.
As a credit
Do you
union,
have to be a child to get I'm just kidding.
they're earning interest on their account too. So
Right.
they get a statement that shows how much interest
This is
each
how
month
this
their
is how it
savings is
works.
earning.
We used to have a thing where, we thought about $1, and $1, you donate $1. I mean, donate 10 cents and you save 10 cents. So if he helped with groceries, that was part of, it wasn't like I pay him to unload groceries. It was just this overall, I never gave him really an allowance. He kind of just got the money I felt he'd earned to go do the things that I wanted him to be able to do.
Right.
And we had to do a budget later, but when he was young like that, so he'd be carrying groceries out of the store, and he's like, Mom, I'm earning 10 cents for my college,
Perfect.
So it was just kind of that, tangible, there's a dime,
Right.
And that's where it goes, and here's this other pot of, for much later, and here's what you've earned to have some fun with. And
Yes.
so your children have that.
They do. They have savings accounts. They have spending that they get to collect at home from when they get money for either doing chores or gifts for birthday parties. And they have to decide, do you want to put it in savings? Do you want to spend it? And do you want to donate it? So we have 3 different jars.
So then when you talk about coming in and educating students, how much of it focuses on online banking now? Because to sit down and balance a checkbook, you do it all online. You can reconcile all of this. And so how do you modify how you're teaching it? Or do you still take a look at the statement and flip it over and write it out?
We teach a variety. So, pretty much how to do it on an app now on your cell phone. All of your online banking, you can deposit a check via mobile deposit. So it's pretty incredible with modern technology how far we have come from where you used to have to go through, stand in a teller line or go through a drive-through, and deposit your money. Now you can do a lot of it via mobile or just an ATM pull up and go.
I still like walking into the bank sometimes.
Yes.
I do. They get to know you.
It's more personal.
Right, they get to know you. So we just have 2 minutes left. This goes by really fast. So let's talk about Festival of Trees. It's coming up in November.
Numerica Performing Arts Center, of course. Numerica as the naming sponsor for the PAC is a huge supporter of Festival of Trees, and we're very excited for this November.
It's on November, is it 19th, I think?
I want to say it's the 17th through the 19th.
Oh yeah, so the weekend.
You can view the trees, and then there's Holiday Spice, there's Little Black Dress Party, and then the Gala, of course, which is the big
So
fundraiser.
they can go to your website, and I'm guessing the PAC website as well, to find out information about tickets and trees and all of those things.
Yeah, NumericaPAC.org has a link for all the details about Festival of Trees.
So the PAC, the nonprofit that I founded, the Don't Wait Project, we have an anti-bullying program that we do in schools.
That's right.
And we're about to kick it off in October with Wenatchee, Kashmir, and Eniat school districts. And then the PAC every single year lets us host our premiere there, where the students and parents and faculty get to come to the auditorium and watch their productions, the films, the PSAs that they made throughout the week about anti-bullying, that message. Every year they do it, and we get in touch in the spring or late summer, and how's it looking? How's the calendar? And we squeeze in there just before Festival of Trees usually. And so it's a great partnership, and there's a lot of partnerships like it. One thing I do want to say, we have to go here, but I do want to say if you haven't submitted a proposal to a business by now, there's still time, because sometimes businesses just allocate funds in general and then they decide who they'll give them to later. So don't be afraid to go knock on those doors if you need help supporting your organization. Thanks for being here.
And definitely ask Numerica.
There, give it a try. You never know. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching.
Stay up to date with what's happening in North Central Washington. Go to the NCWLIFE community calendar at ncwlife.com.